Hey guys, my name is Scoby and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to set up RPCS3 on your PC in 2026. This is a PlayStation 3 emulator that lets you play PlayStation 3 games directly on your PC. Let's jump right into this. So the first thing we need to do is come to this link. Links is always in the description down below, and this is so we can download the RPCS3 emulator itself. Once we're here, we're going to be clicking on the download button here on the top. We're then going to be looking for the Windows version, and we're going to be looking for the latest x64 version. You'll only need the ARM version if you're running an ARM-based processor, but for the most part, if you're watching this video, you will most likely have an x64-based processor. Simply click this download button here and wait for our download to begin. Now, while we're on the download page, I will also mention about the compatibility page, which is up here on the top middle. If we click this, we will see a compatibility list for all of the PlayStation 3 games that exist. We can see that currently 70% of the games are playable, and they go down from here into in-game, intro, loadable, or nothing. So here you can search for any game, whatever you would like. For example, if you want to search Jak and Daxter, we can click enter, and here we can see that both the Jak and Daxter games that exist on the PlayStation 4 only load to in-game status. If we click into more detail on this game, we can see some more information here about what the known issues are, configuration options, and a couple of other information. This can be an important resource to check before trying to play any games, to see what the state of that game is, to make sure that it is playable or not, so you have your expectations set correctly. Once this is downloaded, we're also going to be downloading two other applications. The first of these is going to be 7-Zip, of course also linked in the description down below. We're simply going to be coming here, clicking the download button again, and downloading 7-Zip. We will need this a little bit later on to extract our games and our files, and it's just a good application to have on your computer. So the next thing we're going to need is our PlayStation 3 update file to be able to upload it into our emulator. So we're going to need to come to this link. We're going to be downloading the update file from the official PlayStation websites. We're going to be coming to this section here in the middle, how to update your PlayStation 3 software. We're going to expand the update using a computer, and then we're going to be coming to this button. We're going to right click, save link as, and then it's going to open this pop-up to select the download location. You can put this wherever you want. I'm going to be putting it next to my games and my other files so I can find them easily a little bit later in the video. Even after doing this, it might be possible that you still need to click one more thing. If we come up to the top right of our browser, it will say that it's an insecure download. We can simply click keep, and then our download will start. This can take a couple minutes. Now I have all of my files together. I have my PlayStation 3 update file, my RPCS3 file, and my 7-Zip file. The first thing we're going to be doing here is installing 7-Zip. So we're going to need to find our 7-Zip exe file, double click this application, click yes on the Windows pop-up that opens up, then simply select the file location. I'm just going to be leaving it on my C drive, click install, and then 7-Zip is installed. Now that we have 7-Zip installed, we're ready to talk about games or ROM files. And I will start this by mentioning I will not be showing you in today's video how to actually source or find your own ROMs. You will need to do that yourself. A quick Google search will help you out. Or you can create a dump or backup of your existing PlayStation 3 games if you have a Blu-ray drive in your computer. I will also not be showing you that in today's video, but also a quick Google search will help you out there. Now your games can come in a couple of different formats, but most likely if you download your games, they will come in a .7-Zip or some sort of gzip file, which we will first need to extract them to bring them over to RPCS3. So here you can see my Tony Hawk game is in a zipped folder. I'm simply going to be right clicking it, show more options, 7-Zip, and extract here. This is going to extract these files out. And I'm just going to be showing you Tekken 3 here, where we can see we have game and update files inside the folder, which we will then be bringing over to RPCS3 a little bit later. Now that we've talked about our ROMs, we have 7-Zip installed. We're now going to install RPCS3. This also comes in a zipped folder, so we can simply right click, extract all, click extract. This can take a couple seconds, and then our RPCS3 will be extracted. From here, we're going to be coming to our new extracted folder, and we're going to be looking for the exe file, which is the application file right here. We're again going to be double clicking this file. Windows may warn you here, as they do with most emulation applications, that it might not be safe. We're simply going to be clicking more info, and we're going to be running this file anyway, which is going to run our PlayStation 3 emulator. At this point, we will be brought to the wizard where we'll have a couple of options. You can feel free to create a desktop shortcut, which I will be doing, a start menu shortcut if you want, and then finally they will give you a couple of links to the Patreon, quick start guide, FAQ, forums, and the Discord page. You simply need to click I have read the quick start guide, click continue, and then RPCS3 will launch. From this point, we'll be brought to this UI, and it will be quite an empty UI. We need to come up to File, we're going to click Install Firmware, and from this point we're going to locate to the update file that we downloaded previously, the PS3 update.pup. Simply click it, click Open, and it's going to take a couple of seconds here while it installs the PlayStation 3 firmware. Click OK, and then our firmware should be good to install. Once this is done, we can start to import our games. To do this, we're going to be clicking File, and you have two options here. You can add ISO games or add games directly. When we click Add Games, we can actually locate to a folder where our games are. So for me, I currently have my ROMs folder here with all of my games inside. I'm going to be clicking Select Folder, and this is one of the first things I wanted to mention. Depending on how many layers deep your game folders are, it might not actually be able to find a root folder. So in this instance, when I'm adding my games, because they're multiple levels deep, I actually need to go in and select one level further to be able to add my games. So here you can see my game is actually added, but selecting the folder on top did not work. So it's something to keep in mind. You might need to select a folder level deeper to actually be able to add your games. Once you are adding games, you will have a couple more options here to pre-compile, add desktop shortcut, and add start menu shortcuts. I would recommend to always decompile. That's why it's enabled by default here in RPCS3, but you can feel free to add a desktop or start menu shortcut for your games if you would like to as well. Click OK. This is done. Click OK. And now my game is added here. I'm first going to be launching the game just to show that everything works, and then I'll be running through some of the most important settings inside RPCS3. So we can see even though my game is running, it is compiling shaders in the background. It will normally do this for the first run. We can see that my game launches here successfully, so I'm going to be closing it down, and we're going to be running through some of the settings. To this, we're going to be coming to configuration, CPU, and it will open this option, but here we can see a lot of our GPU and CPU options. There's going to be a couple of things we're going to be running through. One of the first things we need to do here is under additional settings is enable SPU loop detection. This will help prevent some warnings when running PlayStation games, so it's just good to have this enabled. We're then going to be coming to the GPU tab, and by default our renderer will be set to Vulkan. You can leave it like this. If you are having issues, you can set it to OpenGL, but by default Vulkan is a good option. It is important to note that you select the correct graphics device. If you have multiple graphics chips, for example Intel and a dedicated GPU, it is important to make sure that your dedicated GPU is selected here, as it will typically be more powerful. And this is one thing to mention: if you're running an older system, you may have some performance issues when running this, but typically most modern systems should be able to run the PlayStation 3 emulator at certain settings, so it shouldn't be a problem depending on the game that you're playing. If you would like to increase the resolution of your games, what you can do is click here on the slider to change the resolution. So I currently have a 4K screen, so I'm going to be setting my resolution to 300% or 4K. Simply bring this slider. You can go quite high with the scaler, but I'm going to be leaving it at 4K for now. Again, if you are having performance issues, bringing it back down to 100%, so it runs at 720p, is a good option. The only other option I'd recommend looking at here is the filter, which I would set to 16x. And then the last thing you can check here on the right is enabling VSync. Depending on how many frames per second you're getting, you can get some screen tearing, so enabling VSync can be a good option here. The rest of the options here are not too important. The only other thing that I want to mention is on the emulator tab, is this option here to start games in full screen. Otherwise they will always start in the windowed mode, so starting in full screen can be nice. And if you are interested in the performance stats of your console, you can enable the performance overlay here. If you want to see how many frames per second or different information that they have, even the frame rate graph or the frame time graph, you can feel free to enable these options too if you want as well. Once you have all these options enabled, we're going to be clicking apply and then save. We're now going to be looking at our controllers, and to look at this we can click on this pads option here. We will click this and we'll have the option to set up one of 7 player controllers, and here we can set up a couple of things. Now by default the RPCS3 application does support quite a few controllers. The Xbox Series and Xbox One controller should work pretty much out of the box, and PlayStation 3, 4 and 5 controllers should also work directly. For the player 1, what I'm going to be doing is changing my handler here from keyboard, which will be default if you're setting it up, and I'm going to be changing it to X input. Now this should work directly for your Xbox controller if you have one plugged in. I'm currently using an Xbox One controller, and here you can see, for example, I can see my stick preview to show that my controller is directly working. Another thing to mention here is if you have motion controls, the Xbox controller does not. You can configure those here as well. For games that require 6-axis controls, you can set it up. You can also override any settings here if you want, but the default options here work quite well in my opinion. Clicking save, and now my controller is set up. From here, we're also going to be checking for game patches. To do this, we're going to be clicking manage. It'll then give this pop-up, and if it's your first time or there's new patches, it'll say, do you want to download them? Simply click yes. This can take a couple of seconds, and here we can see patches for all of the available games. Here we can click on the top right, only showed own games, so we can see patches for only the games that you own. However, now I've added a few more games. If I come back to manage game patches, and now filter on show only the games that I own, we can see here that some games have additional patches available. So in this case, we can set the resolution patch, which you can enable here. Depending on the games you have, we'll have different types of patches. For example, some games have a lower resolution. For example, the native resolution here is 1024. So this basically allows us to run the game at a higher resolution. These are important things to keep in mind to check the patches for the games that you have. If you have enabled new patches, you first need to click apply, then save, and then your patches will be enabled. The last thing I wanted to talk about was game compatibility, and you can check the compatibility of your game here in the overview. It will show the compatibility if it's in-game, playable, or fully supported. There's a couple of different compatibility layers. If you want to check the compatibility for a specific game, we need to right click, check game compatibility. It will bring you to the compatibility page. Here we can then select the game that we have. It will mention configuration update options that they would recommend, some known issues, special notes, and you can get a lot of different information on the games that you're trying to play on this page. And of course, this can be updated as the emulator is updated over time, so it's important to keep an eye on this as it changes. If the game does recommend updated configuration, we can actually create a specific game profile that will take this configuration into account. In this case, none of the games that I have need specific configuration. However, if you want to set this up, you need to right click a game, click create custom configuration from global settings. And then here you can set up and enable or disable specific things. So for example, if a game mentions that VSync would be an issue or enabling 3D support would be an issue, we can turn this off, click apply, save custom configuration, and now this custom configuration will exist just for this game. You can edit this of course at any point later, but these are cool things to keep in mind. The last thing I wanted to mention on this overview page here is we can set it in a grid view, and we can zoom in here to have a slightly different UI if you want to have the options like this. And here we can also see there's a specific custom configuration here with these two little toggle icons that mention this have a custom game configuration. And if we right click, we can see that it boots with the configuration by default, but we can also boot with a default configuration or the global configuration inside your RPCS3. So you really have a lot of options with this emulator. The final thing to mention is when a game is open and in full screen, if you would like to exit the game, if you clicking start and select on your controller will open up this on-screen menu for RPCS3 where you can resume the game, have access to settings, trophies, screenshots, you can even start recording, save states, restart the game or exit the game. So if you ever want to exit your PS3 games, click start and select to do that. Anyway guys, it's as easy as that to set up and play PlayStation 3 games on your PC in 2026. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, check out the other videos on the channel. Until next time guys, as always, keep it saucy, peace.